Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Armageddon. Today we're going to be featuring a Brawl deck with Klement, Novice Acolyte as our commander, as part of our series of Brawl videos featuring commanders from Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate. Klement has the ability to specialize, which means that you discard a land with a basic land type or a non-land card, and transform Klement, making him more powerful and gaining additional effect. And when you build a Brawl deck around a commander with a specialized ability, you have to choose which color or color pair your commander will specialize in. For this deck, I've chosen white-blue, or Azorius, because that seems to me to provide the best effect when Klement specializes, since you seek 3 non-land permanent cards and put 1 in hand and the other 2 on the bottom of your library. Klement's enter ability is to perpetually buff creatures in our hand, so with Klement as commander, you want a lot of creatures in order to maximize how many are in your hand when you play Klement. We're not playing a lot of mana acceleration because our curve is relatively low, so let's look at the deck starting with our interaction. When the new Lightstall Inquisitor from Edge of Eternities enters, it disrupts the opponent's hand, while Mausoleum Wanderer, Siren Stormtamer, Judge's Familiar, Diversion Unit, and Malevolent Hermit can be sacrificed to counter particular kinds of spells. The new Ademi of the Silk Shoots from Through the Omen Paths can be sacrificed to protect the team from board wipes, while Unyielding Gatekeeper can be played face down, and later turned face up to exile a problematic non-land permanent. It can also protect one of our creatures from removal by flickering it. Hypnotic Sprite has an adventure, Mesmeric Glare, which counters a cheap spell, and can later be played as a flying threat, while NX Sentry exiles a cheap artifact or creature as long as it remains in play. Elite Spellbinder and Vendilion Clique disrupt the opponent's hand, while Lauren of the Third Path destroys an artifact or enchantment when she enters, and can be tapped to let each player draw a card. Mage's Attendant creates a wizard token that can be sacrificed to counter a non-creature spell, while Rasad, Monk of Saloon, exiles a creature while it remains in play, and can be specialized for additional effect. Aven Interrupter acts as a temporary counterspell when it enters, and taxes spells the opponent casts from their graveyard or from exile, while Banisher Priest, Savior of Ullenbach, Sigrid Godfavored, Skyclave Apparition, Unidentified Hovership, Werefox Bodyguard, Obscura Polymorphist, the new All Fates Stalker from Edge of Eternities, and Solitude all exile various non-land permanents, mostly creatures, usually for as long as they are in play, but in some cases, permanently. Hope Ender Coatl and Fear of Imposters can be flashed in to counter a spell, while Jill, Shiva's Dominant, bounces a non-land permanent when she enters, and can be transformed into a saga creature that makes our creatures unblockable. If we play Karu's Spell Snatcher face down, it can be turned face up to counter a spell and let us cast the spell countered this way without paying its mana cost, while Overcharged Amalgam counters a spell if it exploits a creature when it enters. Subtlety can be cast for free if we exile a blue card from our hand as an additional cost, and when it enters, puts a creature or planeswalker spell on the stack on the top or bottom of its owner's library, while Voracious Greatshark counters an artifact or creature spell when it enters. Next, we have our card draw creatures. The new Hydroponics Architect from Alchemy Edge of Eternities turns our lands into card draw when it attacks, while Spectral Sailor has an activated ability to draw a card. Daring Saboteur lets us loot when it hits the opponent, and has an activated ability to become unblockable, while Malcolm, Alluring Scoundrel, loots whenever he hits the opponent, picking up chorus counters as he does so, and lets us cast spells we discard to him for free once he has at least 4 chorus counters. Shoreline Looter can't be blocked, and loots when it hits the opponent, or straight up draws a card instead once our graveyard is full, while Inspiring Overseer and Cloudkin Seer are flyers that draw a card when they enter. Mentor of the Meek, Welcoming Vampire, and Enduring Innocence all let us draw cards whenever smaller creatures enter under our control, while Rumor Gatherer can draw a card if at least 2 creatures enter under our control on a turn. When Inquisitor Captain enters, we seek 2 creature cards with mana value 3 or less, and put one of them onto the battlefield and shuffle the other into our library, and most of our creatures have mana value 3 or less to enable this enter trigger, while Obsessive Collector seeks a non-land card when it hits the opponent. Overlord of the Flood Pits draws 2 cards and discards a card when it enters or attacks, and can be impended to be cast for only 3 mana, while Cunning Azure Scale seeks either 2 lands or 2 non-land cards when it enters, and has an Omen, which seeks for either a land or a non-land card. Finally, All-Seeing Arbiter draws 2 cards and discards a card when it enters or attacks, shrinking down opposing creatures as it does so. Next are our other value creatures. Esper Sentinel taxes the first non-creature spell the opponent casts each turn, while Archivist of Ogma lets us gain a life and draw a card whenever the opponent searches their library while the Archivist is in play. Fairy Mastermind punishes the opponent for drawing extra cards, while Ghostly Pilfer can become unblockable if we discard a card, and can draw a card whenever the opponent casts their commander. Silent Hall Creeper can't be blocked, and has a number of abilities to choose from that trigger when it hits the opponent, while Pouchplate Resolute gives us boons that put additional +1/+1 counters on our creatures when they enter. Redan, God of the Worthy, taxes expensive opposing non-creature spells, and can be cast as an artifact, Valkmira Protector Shield, that decreases how much damage we take, and counters opposing spells and abilities that target us or our permanents. While Valiant Batrider gives the opponent a boon that mimics the taxation effect of Esper Sentinel when it hits the opponent. Our final category consists of a handful of non-creature spells that offer additional value, mostly ramp. Chrome Mox can let us get off to an explosive start, while Mox Amber makes sense with such a cheap commander. Starnheim Memento is ramp that has an activated ability to buff a creature and give it flying, while the new Squadron Carrier from Alchemy Edge of Eternities can make a starfighter pilot that surveils when it is tapped, and once stationed enough, gives the team flying. Our mana base, as with all our multicolor Brawl decks, has lots of dual lands, most of which come into play untapped, along with all of the fetch lands that search up islands and plains, including our non-basic ones. Our utility lands include Castle Ardenvale to make creature tokens, Iganjo, Seat of the Empire, and Odawara Soaring City, which can be channeled for additional interaction, Minas Tirith for card draw, Rivendell to set up our draws, Restless Anchorage as a creature land, and Plaza of Heroes and Tyrite Sanctum to protect our commander or other key creatures. So that's our Klement deck. Now it's time to take it into the queue and play some games. On the draw, I've got 3 lands, Mox Amber for ramp, and some interaction, so I think this is keepable. Not sure how aggressive opponent's going to be, so not sure about Sigrid, but Skyclave Apparition can exile Veto, Hypnotic Sprite could be useful, so I think we'll try this. Obscura Polymorphist. Alright. Not sure I think I fetch planes with Prismatic Vista. That's because I have 2 cards that are double white in hand. No, Priest of Oblivion is good with Veto, with Lifelink. Werefox Bodyguard. Alright, I could play Mox Amber, but I don't have anything to do with the extra mana, so I think I'll leave it for now. There's Veto. I think we'll exile Veto next turn. I could also consider exiling the Null Priest. We'll take 2 here. Take another 2, Castle Ardenvale. I think I like exiling Null Priest. And then no attacks. And then next turn, I think what I might do, play Mox Amber, play land so I have 5 mana, and specialize Klement. And it's got removal for Klement. So we're taking 4 here. I could play Klement, play Mox Amber, play Hydroponics Architect. And then I think we leave Skyclave Apparition back. Oh, right. I can't play Hydroponics Architect until Klement specializes. Opponent keeps having removal. Could have countered that if I left up Hypnotic Sprite. That's interesting that opponent attacks with Dockside Chef. Alright, land is good. Alright, and then what do I discard to Klement? My creatures are getting pretty big here. I could discard Hydroponics Architect, although I'm not sure I should, since I can play the Architect and hold up either Mesmeric Glare or Sigrid Godfavored if I specialize Klement. And I think I'll discard the Polymorphist. And let's keep the Gatekeeper. And we can attack. Now we've got blockers for Veto, opponent's down to 1 card in hand. They've got Mesmeric Glare up. Opponent hits land. Plays Whip of Erebos. Opponent attacks. So I think I flash in Sigrid, exile Veto, and then I can block the token with Sigrid because she's got first strike, so they don't gain life. Esper Sentinel. Okay, so I can hold up Werefox, Bodyguard, Hypnotic Sprite if I don't play anything. So I think we'll do that. Opponent replays Veto, plays Barrier of Bones. And then we'll flash in Werefox, Bodyguard, end of turn, exile Veto. opponent considering what to do with veto. And then I wouldn't mind some card draw or another creature that counters a spell. Opponent timing out. So they could have disconnected. Maybe they checked out. So we might be skipping them timing out. All Fate Stalker. Alright, and then opponent timing out here, so probably not blocking, so they're taking 9, 13 damage, so not quite lethal. And that's it. Alright, I'll take it. On we go. On the play, not sure why we're getting matched up against Finn the Fang Bear here. Pretty sure he's more of a top tier commander, but such is life. Anyway, the lands are a little awkward since right now they both come into play tapped, but I've got interaction for Vayne or Finn, and Storm Tamer could be useful, and Malcolm as an evasive threat, so I think we'll try it. And then we'll scry for land 3. Sigurd's nice because she's got first strike. Alright, opponent keeps their hand. We'll lead with Temple. Unyielding Gatekeeper is interesting, but I'm looking for land 3. Bang of Shigeki. There's land 3. So I think it's play tap land, play Siren. Opponent attacks. I guess we'll trade. I don't really want to get poison. And then I think it's hold up Sigrid or Werefox. Opponent returns Finn to hand, Lifestyle Inquisitor. I kind of like play Klement. And then I could either play Malcolm or Specialized Klement. And I think we won't attack because I want to keep Sigurd back to block the Heir of the Wilds if they replay Finn next turn. And then I could consider discarding the Spell Snatcher, maybe? And then I think we keep Fear of Imposters. Although Squadron Carrier could be good. Well, that's enough for opponent. Alright, we'll take it. On we go. On the play. Only 2 lands. And I don't really want to fetch Surveil land to look for land 3 because I want to curve out. But I do have Cunning Azure Scale to find land if I don't draw one. So I think we can keep this. And then I could consider... I guess I could have considered playing tap land to Surveil and wait to play Hydroponics Architect until after I play Klement, so that it's a 2-3. But I think it's still fine to get it out here now. Because the more often the Architect attacks, the better chance I have of drawing a card. Drawing a land that draws a card when it enters, so I think that's good. The opponent leads with Flood Farm Verge. Looks like they can do something for 1 mana. Minas Tirith, land 3, that's good. Alright. If opponent wants to use a removal spell on my 1-drop, I'll happily take that. Sadly, they did it while the trigger's still on the stack, so I can't search up the land that if one of my basics were affected, so... And then let's fetch Hallowed Fountain. I could also fetch Plains Draw card, but I kind of want double blue for Overlord. Rasad. I think it's specialized Klement. I'll discard Rasad. Actually, I guess I want to discard maybe Overlord, although getting Overlord down as a 6/4 is pretty nice. But I still kind of want to specialize Klement as white-blue. So I think it is Overlord. Alright, thankfully opponent doesn't remove Klement in response, because that would have been pretty bad. Could use Starnheim Memento. I think I want another creature. Let's keep Welcoming Vampire. Opponent brainstorms. We hit for 3. And then we'll hold up our Omen or Archivist, depending on what opponent does. So if opponent searches their library, we'll flash an Archivist. Dreamtide Whale. I can exile that. With either Rasad or Onyx Sentry. So let's seek land. And then I kind of want to play Welcoming Vampire, flash an Archivist to draw. So opponent could play their commander here, although that way they would be tapped out. Eladar Retreat. We'll take 7. Alright, so they'll have to sacrifice Dreamtide Well. I think we let Elsha resolve here. And then I think I'll exile the token. Land is good. Opponent blocks Klement. We'll counter that. And that's enough for opponent. Alright, on we go. On the draw, I've got 3 lands. My white source is a tap land, so I can't curve out Esper Sentinel into Klement or Shoreline Looter, but I think this is still keepable. And we might hit untapped white source on our first draw step. So we'll try it. Wouldn't mind hitting white source for Aven Interrupter. Alright. So I could play Hallowed Fountain, play Esper Sentinel, but I think I want to be able to be sure that I can play Aven Interrupter, so let's play the tap land. And then we'll lead with Klement. Raven Man, Mage's Attendant. Interesting that opponent didn't attack, because I certainly wasn't going to block. Alright. And then I don't really want to trade Klement for the Raven Man. Could play Valiant Batrider, but I feel like it's better I hold up Aven Interrupter. Opponent ramps some more with Blitzball. Opponent reconsiders attacking. Polymorphist. So I'm thinking either play Mage's Attendant, hold up the Wizard token, or specialize Klement, hold up Azure Scale. Yeah, let's do that. And then I think Polymorphist might be more useful as interaction, so we'll ditch the Looter here. What to keep? Maybe the Wanderer? Or Mastermind? I think Mastermind, because I can also flash that in. I did trigger the Raven Man. Replays Hashaton, which interestingly they returned to the command zone instead of leaving it in exile. No, I should have played Mastermind there. I would have drawn a card. Let's fetch land. Let's search for a land with Azure Scale then. Glacial Fortress. Opponent falls to 13. And then I think I like Hold Up, Mesmeric Glare, Flash, and Fairy Mastermind. Alright, so Swamp Cycling is not drawing, so Fairy Mastermind won't do anything. Alright, they still only make one bird. Solitude. Opponent chumps. Falls to 8. And then I think I evoke Solitude and what to exile to it. Maybe Esper Sentinel? Or I could exile Batrider, play Sentinel, play Polymorphist, exile Hashaton. Do I play Attendant or hold up Hypnotic Sprite? I think we hold up the Sprite. And then I'll exile the demon with Obscura Polymorphous. We'll take 4. Subtlety, okay. Klement can attack. Opponent has to block. And then I've got Subtlety and Hypnotic Sprite. Mage's Attendant would have been really good here, although I guess they could have paid. So they've got Solitude. They have to exile a flyer. Exiles Klement. I think I will unspecialize. Alright, opponent does not have, let's just double check, Vigilance, or no creatures with yeah, opponent should have exiled a flyer. Alright. Well, there we go. Let's take a look at the deck. Alright, so that was our Klement deck. Klement is pretty decent. Like I said, I think the white, blue, or Azorius specialization is the best, since it provides card advantage compared to the other specializations. Now, you could consider playing more regular counter spells or blue card draw spells, but that does dilute the deck's game plan of having lots of creatures in hand to perpetually buff with Klement's Enter ability. So that is something to keep in mind. But there were definitely times, like in that last game, when opponent cast Rise of the Dark Realms. If we'd had a regular counterspell, we could have done something about it. Now, in the event, they exiled the wrong creature, so we won the game anyway. But things could have gone very differently there. But still, I think this is a reasonable way of building the deck. There are a decent number of interactive creatures in both white and blue, so it's not like we were helpless. We did have lots of games where our interaction definitely helped. So that'll do it for today's video. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Do please like and subscribe. If you'd like to see another commander, either from Through the Omen Paths or another commander from Baldur's Gate, let me know in the comments. And have a good one. Bye.